welcome to the third episode of Season 2 of the RFC Tuesday podcast, the bi monthly show on the web where we invite the best and the brightest in the financial services industry and try to learn from their success and expertise.
We are RFC accredited members of the IARFC Philippines, whose passion is to educate the public about the value and benefits of financial planning. The IARFC Philippines is an association dedicated to the craft of financial consulting. The association is the sole organization authorized to conduct the RFC conversion courses as well as continuing education in the field of financial consulting. We are your hosts. I am Kuya Ryan Daes, a registered financial consultant, a chartered wealth manager, and registered estate planner.
I'm Louis Boarda, a registered financial consultant and the founder of the Financial Passionate and Passionate Creators.
I'm Andre Michelobieres, a registered financial consultant and a stockbroker.
And I'm Coach John Dizon, a registered financial consultant and a life coach from NLP Manila.
Well, before we start with the show, I think I want to point out that it's great to have Louie back, right? Didn't we miss her?
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
Thank
Welcome
you,
back, Louie.
definitely.
guys.
Welcome back,
Thank you.
Louie.
Thank you.
Back
Oh,
with a vengeance.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So it's great to have everyone on the show tonight.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
kompleto tayo.
that's right. That's right. All right, it's great to have everyone on board in tonight's episode, right? So anyway, before we start the show, we want to greet our the VIPs, the very important people in supporting us. First of all, I want to say hi to the board of directors from the IARFCPH and our ever faithful Tita Faith. Also, Sir Jeff Hofilenia, it's good to see you again. Tony Francisco of FWD, and Sir June Kitane. Um, I'm happy to see all of you here again. And a thank you to Mr. Jed Godoy from AXA Philippines for joining us in our last episode. So tonight, we will be starting a new format. Uh, our, this format of the show, pretty much, we want to start with something that is near and dear to a lot of people, the concerns on debt, right? We will be talking about debt. This will be between a 2 to 3 part series, depending on how much we cover and the questions that our viewers will raise in the chat box. We will be addressing that. And which reminds me, please don't forget to comment your questions and suggestions for our next episode so we can address everything, right? So for tonight's episode, we'll start with a basic question. What is debt, right? And so that we will give enough time for all of our hosts to share the insights, we will do it in a round robin fashion.
Mm.
Yeah, right. This is a very hot topic for all Filipinos from all classes, all walks of life. Many have faced or experienced debt, right? And going back to our case study, the case study that we started this season, we'll look at Mr. Pera's situation, right? For those who don't know him, his name is Pedro Enrico R. Ambicion. And our goal, at least in this mini series, is to free the man from debt. All right. So, uh, how would you personally define debt, my fellow hosts? How about so again, the first question is what is debt? And let's start off with uh, none other than Louis Barde. How about you, Louis?
Hello. Hi. So, yeah, basically, debt for me is, or in general, the term is basically it's borrowed money with a promise of paying under certain conditions, probably with interest, or there's like it's if it's time based like installment payments. So there's it's a huge topic, so it's great that we're tackling this in a series. So basically that's it for me. For Kuya Ryan, how about you? How do you define debt?
Actually, tama ka. Very timely yung topic kasi especially coming from we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Maraming naapektuhan ng cash flow. So maraming may issue about debt. For me, ang definition ko ng debt is cash advance on your future income.
Mm.
So kasi in most cases, maraming Pilipino ganyan eh. Yung wala pa yung sweldo, ang
Mhm.
ginagawa, inuutang na through a credit card normally. So which is very typical to most Filipino. So that's my personal definition of what a debt is. So
So,
it could
ipit yung
be
cash flow, no, Kuya Ryan? Naiipit kasi minsan sa cash flow nila, that's why they
mm,
need the income earlier, no, advance.
saka minsan like most financial advisors, di ba? We live on di ba, variable income. So
Yeah.
minsan may time na kulang yung income lalo kung walang emergency buffer fund.
Yeah.
So ang gagawin, sa credit card kukunin yung kulang instead
Mm.
na sa emergency buffer fund. So in most cases it is in many setup of Filipinos, ano yan, advancement talaga sa future income.
Mhm.
So that's my definition. Eh ikaw dyan, ano bang coach dyan? Ano bang definition mo na?
Right, Kuya Ryan. Actually, nasabi nyo na lahat. For me, debt is simply utang, no? Ang dami naman nakakaalam what utang means. But for in this case, si Pedro, in Filipino kasi, sa kultura natin, madaming klase ng utang. Sinasama na natin minsan dyan yung utang na loob, di ba? Dahil nagpapautang sa'yo, naka-add na yun sa utang na loob, di ba? Pero in this case, I think we're gonna focus on financial matters lang. So, yun. Utang siya, basically. Andre.
Yeah, you guys all raised very good points. Not It's not really complex because you're just using something that's not yours and that you have to return, right? That's how it
Mhm.
really is. That can also be more than just money, right? That's what you call utang ng loob. Is that right? I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I'm using
Utang na loob. Tama,
Yeah,
tama.
the
Yeah.
Tagalog right. But anyway, it could be that, right? It could be monetary. It could be physical objects that you borrow and you return. That's how I see that. You know,
Mhm.
and funny enough, it reminds me of what Kuya raised earlier, like it's a cash advance on your future income and how some people treat it in a weird way. It reminds me of a book, the Millionaire Fastlane, I believe, by John DeMarco. I think he basically divided people into three lanes: the slow lane and the fast lane, and those people with with no direction, and those people with actually no direction actually see credit cards not as a form of debt but as their income, which is weird.
Mm.
That's why they end up with so much debt and it blows up later in their lives because they were treating it as their own money. And that's why I look at that in the sense that it's not mine and I have to return it. Okay. So
Right.
which begs the question, this is actually one from our viewers. And I think it's a good question that we should all address. Is debt bad? What do you guys think? Kuya?
Uh, pag sa akin, actually, okay lang ang may utang. It's not generally bad depending on your situation. Uh, so if yung balance sheet mo naman, meaning your net worth statement, can support the debt, okay lang. Kasi kaya mong bayaran. Maybe may reason lang kung bakit ka nangutang. Like for some people, they want to keep their liquidity. Some
Mm.
people naman, syempre, it's yung to maintain yung, well, basically, they maintain liquidity. Iba naman, it's a form of tax avoidance. They do it to avoid taxes. So, again, avoidance is different from evasion. So, legal means. So, this means whatever, kung kaya mo naman, kaya mong bayaran anytime, kung gusto mo, then it's a good type of debt. Especially if the interest rates are low, kung mababa lang, then okay lang. And then, remember we have a rule in financial planning that you shouldn't take more than 30%. Ideally, you don't take more than 30% of your asset value as debt. With regards to credit card, which is also another form of debt, if you use them for convenience, okay lang. Kasi if you can get discounts if you use your credit card, which usually happens, maraming promo yung mga credit card. Kasi sa dami na ng brands ng credit card, nag-aagawan sila sa attention ng consumers, di ba? So if you can get a discount if you use your credit card, why not? I remember before pinagalitan ako ng asawa ko kasi I bought this keyboard protector from a particular store for my laptop. And if I used a particular credit card, yung kung saan siyang banko before nag-work, I would have had a 30% discount, which I
Wow.
would not have been able to do with another credit card. Diba? Sayang di ba? In cash flow management, any way that you could get a better value of what you're paying for example, if I was supposed to pay 1,000, if I use yung credit card dun sa bank na pinagtatrabaho ng wife ko at that time, di 700 na lang yung binayaran ko, di ba? Yan, for that kind of convenience, okay gamitin ng credit card. Pwede rin yung nag-earn ka ng points kung same lang naman yung price in cash and in card, okay lang. Kasi parang form of income rin yun, which we discussed in one of our past episodes. Tapos, yung pag-extend ng payment, like naalala ko si John, shinare din to yung premiums ng client niya, pinapa-charge sa credit card kasi sayang yung liquidity mo 'di ba? Yung halimbawa, annual yung premium. So instead of paying one time, you extend it to a couple of months, normally 3 months, tapos you pay after, depende pa kung kailan yung statement cycle mo. So medyo napapakinabangan mo pa yung pera mo, pwede pang kumita ng konting interest earning, which you would not have earned if you paid immediately. So kung ganun, okay lang. If you're going to pay it anyway, you used it just to keep your liquidity earned, then it's okay to have debts. Basta kaya mong bayaran at hindi ka nagre-revolve, lalo kung sa credit card. So that's that's my take on it. Ikaw, Coach Jan, sorry, medyo may nakuha ako dun sa mga idea mo in the past.
Yeah. Because I remember it a lot of it. Yung credit card. Sa akin, with the life coaching is, kasi I do life coaching, di ba? So basically in life, there are a lot of things that are amoral. So hindi naman siya good, hindi rin siya bad. So there's also a saying na wisdom is proved by her actions. So with regards to debt, hindi naman siya masama, hindi rin naman siya mabuti. Depende sa paggamit sa kanya actually. So how I see this one is parang it can be three. So you can have one person, tulad nga ng sabi ni Andre kanina, meron pa lang mga ganong tao, no, who treats credit card as part of their, parang
income.
income nila. Medyo nakakatakot ata pag ganon. So when you're that type of person, medyo nakakatakot kasi really, as simple as using the credit card as debt, wala. Kasi parang doon pa lang patay ka na So it's really bad for you. In that sense, debt is really bad for you. Kasi you would try to get as much as debt as possible kung kaya mo Kasi you would, in your mindset, it's part of your income. Pag nakakuha ka, it's yours. So, binabaon mo yung sarili mo So that one, binabaon mo lang yung sarili mo patuloy na patuloy. The second one is the person na parang credit card, swipe, bayad agad, transfer agad. Okay, BPI to ganyan, etc. Tapos. The third one naman, sobrang efficient na he can use it na 30 days. Okay, 30 days ko pa babayaran yan. So invest ko muna yung money ko. Tapos yung ganon, yung sobrang liit na pwedeng kitain sa money na dapat pinambayan niya na ginaganon pa niya. That's debt made very used very well, kumbaga, 'di ba? So it's different for everyone. Pero when, ayun nga, again, wisdom is proved by her actions. Paano siya dun sa tao yun? Now, that one can be good or bad na based on that person. Ikaw ba, Louie?
Sa akin din in the same sense din, like more on defining good and bad debts. Kasi parang usually a good debt is yung investment na eventually will generate you income. Kumbaga, tataas yung assets mo, possible, di ba? Or bababa yung liabilities mo. So, parang mas in favor siya in terms of your net worth. So, good debt siya. More on investments talaga. When it comes to bad debts naman, yun naman yung mga purchases na nag-lose ng value over time. And those things naman, hindi nakaka-generate ng income and possibly mas marami pang binabayad mo because of interest payments. Tapos hindi naman dumagdag sa assets mo. So again, pero it really depends din talaga. Ang ganda nung point na pag pinagsama natin tong concept na to with the concept na sinabi ni Coach John and ni Kuya Ryan, with like it really depends on how the person uses yung money eh. Kasi like, pwede, yung iba, like, pwede naman na, nag-lose yung value yung binili, di ba? But, in general, yung bayad naman nila agad, hindi sila masyado sa interest payments, they just want to accumulate points or magka-discount, makakuha ng rebates. Diba? So, I think ang pinaka-general talaga dito, kung uutang ka, you really need to maximize yung opportunities na meron. And at the same time, dapat fully informed ka sa pinapasukan mo. Because a lot of people, like in terms of credit cards, they don't really view it as utang. 'Di ba? Parang they view it as, yeah, makakabayad na ako online. Or, yes, pwede na ako magawa ng installment payments, 'di ba? Pero hindi nila na-realize na it's not actually their money pa. And binabawasan pa yung future earnings nila. So, I think yun yung sa side ko. Like, if you're gonna get into like, especially mga big na debts, like, pwede yun, like, yun nga, pwedeng kung bahay man yan in-investan mo, diba? Or gusto mo magtayo ng business, you're gonna use debt as leverage. So, yun yung magagandang types of debt. Kasi hindi talaga natin maiwasan na mangutang eh. Pero, again, dapat well-informed and strategic yung pag-uutang. Hindi yung, basta pwede, uutang ako. Parang
Correct.
isipin mo siya long-term. Parang ganun. Yun.
Correct. Ang ganda lang ng sinabi mo, Louie, na parang nadagdagan ng parang meron ng weighing scale kung uutang ba or hindi. So
Yeah.
again, ano yun? Yung sa asset or sa liability,
Oh,
makakaano.
yung parang in terms of good debt siya if it will add in your income o kaya kumbaga parang investment siya in something. Kahit na business sabihin natin a business can fail pero you use that as leverage. Actually good debt pa rin yun. Kasi it's again it's for something na will eventually generate income as opposed to bad debt na example uh, pwedeng car, no? Ang bilis ng mawala ng value ng kotse. So, yun, parang, especially pag nakita mo, you're really paying more than kung magkano talaga yung price niya because ginamit mo for loans. Although, sinabi nga ni Kuya Ryan, maganda rin yun minsan to preserve liquidity. So, again, i-weigh mo din talaga yung pros and cons if you're gonna get into it or baka kaya mo naman din bayaran na lang in full. Parang ganun. It's talaga parang there's a lot of things to consider na you need to educate yourself before ka pumasok sa utang.
Right. So parang yung sinasabi mo yung if you're the type of the third person na I mentioned kanina, para liquid ka pa rin, Tapos yung ibang money, pwede mo muna invest, ipakita yon kung it would earn more naman dun sa interest na inutang mo
Yes,
But
yes.
you're the second type of person na parang naaano ka kapag may utang ka, bayarin mo na, di ba? Para
Bayaran mo na
matanggal
agad.
siya sa
Oo.
isip mo.
Actually, nasa financial planning natin yan, di ba, Andre, Kuya Ryan, tsaka Coach John. Like, yung iba na debt na actually, kaya naman pala bayaran dahil parang sobra pa sa emergency buffer fund yung nasa savings nila. And then may pumapasok na income every month. Baka
Oo.
pwede mo na i-pay in full to and you will save this much money.
Right. Oo.
Mga ganong scenarios Opo, yeah.
Pero maganda yung sinabi mong point kanina, Louie, yung uutangin mo yung kotse. Although, tama ka, mabilis mag-depreciate ang kotse. Pero if that car, for example,
Papagrab mo.
ipapagrab mo, ninegosyo mo, or
Pwede yun.
it brings you bigger business because you use that car.
Efficiency.
Or, bukod doon,
Give you more time.
ngayon, medyo nakakatakot mag-public commute, di ba?
That's true.
Diba? It's also for your risk management. Kasi,
Right.
I remember a friend of mine sharing yesterday sa meeting namin. Isa siya sa mga unang nagka-COVID-19. Public commuter siya. He spent 10 million pesos.
Oh.
Diba?
What?
So, yes.
Risk management tool. Ang ganda nung
Oo,
concept
risk
na yun.
management tool
Yeah,
din
yeah,
yun.
yeah.
Tsaka bukod doon, ano rin yan ha, maganda yung sinabi mo, like yung car, inutang mo, ah pwede mo siyang gawing tax deductible kasi may interest expense ka eh.
That's true.
So it's also a way of actually uh, managing your cash flow kasi you can, lalo kung naka-itemized deduction ka sa
Mm.
tax ano mo, sa tax filing mo, you
Yeah.
can deduct the interest as an expense
Yes. And
aside
to
from the depreciation of the car on your
yeah.
balance sheet.
And to add to that, 'di ba, good debt nga is an investment. Parang investment that eventually grow and generate more income or
Correct.
value, 'di ba? And yung kung kotse, yan na yung primary source mo to get from one place to another to accumulate more business. It's an investment talaga.
Oo. Oo.
Ang I think yung pino-point out with that is sometimes other people, 'di ba? Maraming kotse for ibang yung reason is meron naman ng primary car, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Yung mga ganun. Although may iba collectors which also generate value kasi what they do is nagiging ano siya yung
They trade
collectible
it.
na yun. They trade it or they even parang in the long run it will increase yung value habang nawawala na yung edition ng car na yun. So again, it really depends on the scenario. Kaya kailangan inaano muna before mag-decide. Hindi porket may available money for utang, you're
No
gonna ano
way. Dapat
papasok mo na siya.
tinitimbang.
Yes,
Maganda
kailangan
yung
gawin mo siyang
illustration ng
efficient.
balance scale.
Oo,
Magandang illustration yun.
gawin mo siyang productive or efficient if you're gonna purchase something using borrowed money.
Oo. So parang ano lang din pala to, Shopee or Lazada. Think of it as parang, is this something you really want? Or ano mo muna ilang days para makita mo. Kung gusto mo pa rin, edi go na. So
Kasi,
parang
oo,
wini-weigh mo, di ba? Wini-weigh mo
yeah,
is
yeah.
something that would really generate another investment or would bring convenience towards me or safety for risk, ano, di ba? So you really have to weigh it.
Hindi kasi kahit expenses for things na gano'n na hindi talaga investment in education or investment for your business, sometimes it's investment in wellness eh. Kasi it
Mm.
makes you feel good in the long run or it's something na alam
Right?
mo yun for you. So yung definition talaga it's really up to you. Kung gagamitin mo lang yan once tapos wala na, alam mo yung mga gano'n, wag mo na gamitin yung pang utang, 'di ba? Pero what if it's something na a year, 2 years from now will still bring you joy?
Mm-mm.
So, ano talaga, in definition ng productive or para magiging efficient use nun, it's up to you. Kasi wellness, health, it's part of it. Like sabi nga ni Coach Ryan, na paghalo ko na, ni Kuya Ryan, risk management, di ba? Hindi ko naisip yun, ang ganda nun, risk management tool, yung mga vehicles natin, di ba? So, yun.
Tsaka di
So,
ba, I remember si Andre, he began investing in himself na. Oh, those are the books, di ba? You began investing
Yun.
in yourself. Are you enjoying them so far?
Education.
pardon, John.
Are you enjoying them so far, yung mga books mo?
Oh yeah, I
Yung
love them.
investment mo sa books.
Yeah, I
Oh,
really like collecting books. So yeah, just reminds me of what Benjamin Franklin said. The best knowledge pays the best interest. Yeah,
Totoo
right.
yan,
So
totoo yan.
True.
investing in
True yan.
books,
True.
investing in yourself,
yes.
always pays off, right? Anyway,
Both ways.
I think you guys all raised really good points. No, basically context matters, right? Debt is not necessarily good. It's not necessarily evil. It depends on the context and how it is used,
Mhm.
right? Uh, but Coach John raised something very important. He raised the part about the psychological side. Most of us really don't think about that, and I think that's one great value we RFC practitioners can provide. Right? We can look at how this impacts the client's psychology and actually, you know, give them the right advice. This reminds me of, you all know that I'm a stockbroker. There are some clients who trade on margin, right? So let's say they have 1 million pesos for trading capital, and they have access to an extra 1 million pesos for buying power because they have a margin account. And I think it's important to understand the psychological side. Like you said, Louis, the debt. Uh, there are good debts, and especially if it increases value or potential income. But some people can misuse that, especially without the right advice. I think this is where we RFC practitioners can shine, right? When I've seen clients who trade on margin, buy stocks with the expectation, oh, I'm gonna easily quadruple my money, right? Because 2 million doubles to 4 million. That's already what, four times the initial capital, right? So initial capital of 1 million. So that it can also be horribly abused. Client buys that, but they forget that it's double edged. Not only can they lose 1 million, they can lose more and still owe the company, owe the brokerage the margin, right? So that's why I think that's where we can shine when we give contextual advice to our clients, and that's where we can actually say if it is a good debt or a bad debt. So
Like
I think,
Andre, like it's really about making it an investment, diba? As opposed to like gambling.
mhm,
Not informed yung decision making. So we RFCs help them make well informed decisions, and at the same time on their end due diligence, no, really before deciding, especially with big money.
Right.
yeah. So when we're talking to our clients, or in this case, Mr. Pera, we have to understand his motivations.
Yeah.
Why is he going to borrow money? What is it for? What is his existing debt? What is his past behavior when it comes to debt? Does he pay his credit cards on time? Does he let him pile up and only pay the minimum? There are some people who do that.
Yeah.
uh, and I think that's important to understand the context before we can say it's good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
So this brings us to the next topic. uh, Knowing that there could be good or bad uses of debt, then how would, let's say, Mr. Pera know what kind of debt is available to him, right? So, what are the kinds of debt that regular Juan or Juana could access, or in this case, Mr. Pera? What about you, Kuya?
Well, technically, there are two types of loans or debts available for everyone. So the first one is there's secured and unsecured. Yung secured loans, these are the kind of loans that would require an asset as a collateral. That's why it's secured. Kumbaga, may pambangga ka dun sa utang. So, while an unsecured debt or loan does not require a collateral, this type of loan is also called yung clean loan. Kasi nga, kaya clean, wala siyang, kumbaga, walang hahatakin na property from you. Walang naka-secure dun sa loan mo. So, the main difference is, of course, if it's secured, normally, interest rates would be lower. Kasi worst comes to worst, you can't pay your debt, they'll liquidate the asset that was used as collateral. So, yun yung pagkakaiba. Whereas yung clean loan, it's a character type of loan. So, kaya mataas yung interest rate. Kasi, kumbaga, yung motivation ng malaking risk nung nagpapautang. So, kailangan niya masingil agad yung principal. Kaya mataas ang interest rate. Kasi there's always that risk na hindi bayaran. Diba? Kaya yung credit cards natin, ang interest rate niyan would be anywhere between, depending on the type of card that you use, could be anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5% per month ang interest rate niyan. So, kasi nga, pwede kang hindi magbayad. Actually, by law, walang nakukulong sa utang. Kaya yung mga character loans, yung mga clean loans, normally, mataas ang interest rates. Kasi there's that risk na hindi magbayad yung pinautang.
Yeah, good points, and especially in splitting up the kinds of loans. To make this more concrete, especially to our, like our lay audience, could someone actually give specific examples? What about You, Louis, could you give us some specific examples so that our listeners would at least fully internalize what Kuya was explaining?
So thank you, Andre. So I'm gonna I think expound on secured loans na explain ni Kuya Ryan. So meron tayo mga types pero mortgage loans, we have auto loans, housing, business loans din, 'di ba? Yung mga ito, you can pwede siya sa bank and you basta meron kang collateral. And 'di ba usually nga po nagagamit na collateral din yung insurance, no, yung mga MRIs, usually nag, uh, isa yun sa assets na pwede as a collateral. Pero usually this is nakukuha siya sa banks. Tama, di ba, Kuya Ryan?
Mhm. Pwede rin kasi manggaling sa financing companies ang loan. So they can give loans but their rates are normally higher
Higher.
because they don't have depositors to get it from.
Yeah.
So kaya ang baba ng interest rates natin sa
Less
savings
stricter
account
sila.
natin.
Mas less strict sila, Kuya Ryan, than
Oh
sa
yes, oh yes. They're less stricter
That's why
in
higher din.
approving loans. So
Mhm.
yeah. May magandang example niyan, kaya lang I don't want to sound like I'm endorsing. May ganyang financing company na sikat
Mm-mm.
ngayon sa mga business owner
Actually.
dyan sa Taguig. So, yan. So, yun yung mga possible.
Yes.
Pwede rin sila.
Yeah,
Si
just
Jan yata may issue share about
Oh, yeah.
unsecured.
Oh, unsecured. Okay, so unsecured, very ano lang yan. So usually you can get the most, if your family is mahal ka nila, you can even get zero interest from them. So if talaga naman yung loan is really needed, kunyari medical loan, yung ganun, that's wala ka na mahanapan, I think they would loan you naman eh. So those are the things na unsecured. Oo. Ang challenge lang dito is kapag natatagalan yung utang na hindi nababayaran, there's a certain sense of awkwardness na you cannot face that family member with kumbaga hindi na straight yung lakad mo in front of that person. Kasi iba na eh, parang may utang ka na eh. Sinasabi sa ano na yung may utang, slave siya to the borrower. So, in any sense, kahit family member pa yan, ganun pa rin yung feeling. So, there are even people na kilala ko na they would prefer mag-utang pa sa iba kahit na mas malaki yung interest kasi they don't want that with their friends or their family members. But before going, nasabi ko na pala siya, but I wanna touch on something na Andre told us earlier na on the psychological part. Kasi again, this one we're dealing with what kinds of loans or debts can one have, 'di ba? Pero I think it's like if the person is hindi na okay, hindi na siya disiplinado about debts or loans. So parang nagdidig siya ng grave niya. And if we tell that person saan pa pwedeng makautang, it's like we are helping him dig more para mas mabilis yung siyang mabury siya
Or
mismo.
endless loop yan eh, no?
Correct, oo. So parang, nahirapan ka nakikita na natin nahirapan siya kunyari si Pedro sa loans niya, tutulungan pa natin siyang mahirapan pa. Kasi mas madami siyang malalaman na utang eh. So on that psychological part, I just want to help on the terms of in coaching. I'm not an expert with that, yung sa mga may utang. Pero what I would say is, it begins with awareness. So first of all, kapag aware na yung tao, the next one thing that he or she can do is always ask, what does buying this actually mean? Kasi nangungutang siya for something eh. So pag nagutang siya, ginamit niya yung pera somewhere, if yung somewhere na yun is hindi naman talaga need, it means it's fulfilling something. Okay? Whether that be a sense of superiority or feeling or security, siya na nakakaalam na yun. Basta, when he or she asks that question, siya lang naman yung sasagot eh. So, be truthful to yourself na lang na, okay. So, once na nagets niya, ano ba yung tinatry i-fulfill nung need na yon, then he can maybe get out of that loop much better. So, yun lang, na-share ko lang.
And gusto ko i-add with like if we're talking about Mr. Pera nga solving yung problem niya about debt. Kasi marami na akong na-experience na mga tao na parang nasa parang debt-free journey, di ba? They're trying to get rid of that debt. And nakikita mo din, they were posting na, oh, finally, debt-free, di ba? To do that talagang, again, you can acquire services of an RFC to help
Yeah.
you with a plan. Usually it's about ano talaga cash flow management talaga. It's either talagang i-increase mo yung income mo or i-decrease mo yung expenses mo. Yun lang yun para surplus ka, 'di ba? Tuloy yun sa atin ni Miss Grace na it's really important na aware ka sa cash flow mo kasi kaya minsan napupunta sa utang, nababaon sa utang kasi nagulat ka na hala, ubus na pala. Parang ang dami mong nasa-spend.
Correct.
Tapos hindi pala, yung income mo pala mas onte dun sa nasa-spend mo. So, correcting that behavior. Kasi once that's corrected, mas maraming surplus na imbis siya mapunta sa savings or investments for now, it's for payment of the debt.
Yeah.
Until mawala siya, until maubos siya.
The
As you
RFC
find
plan,
yourself, your assets are being eaten off by your
Yes,
debts
yun
already.
yung problema.
the RFC
Bebe.
plan actually makes it clearer eh. Ilalatag niya lahat dyan eh. Para mas
Yeah.
kita mo eh. Kapag hindi mo nakikita, pag alam mo lang, usually ang alam lang ng usual na tao is ililista lang sa notebook eh. And that's it eh. You know, our RFC plan is super comprehensive, di ba?
Yeah.
Nakabook yan eh. Nakabind pa yan eh. So that you'll see everything from every perspective. Ayan. Tapos, if you want to also learn, talagang kayo mismo yung matuto, well, enroll in our course. Diba?
Yeah.
You can,
Correct.
Iba yung skill set if you know it. Like, iba yung awareness. Kasi once we start with awareness once you're there na, and yung implementation na lang until papunta sa goal mo. It's beneficial for us RFCs as well as our clients.
And if you do have the time naman and the money, just enroll. If you don't have the time,
Investment in
Oo.
education.
Pero guys, iba ang advantage na if you're talking to someone who has experience in dealing with that. Like, I remember one of my first clients, na-share ko yata to last season or early this season. We did their financial plan. Tapos, hindi nila dinisclose lahat ng financial position nila. So, it turned out, marami pala credit card debts na hindi nababayaran. So, when we redid their financial plan, nangyari, we focused on cash flow management kasi hindi nila dinisclose sa net worth statement nila yung credit card debts. So, ngayon, baliktad na yung sitwasyon. Naayos na namin yun. Tapos, ang nangyari, nag-acquire na sila ng assets. Dati, wala sila ma-acquire na assets. Kasi kinakain ng interest rate ng credit card yung surplus nila.
Right. I hope
yung ganyan, di ba? Nakakatulong yan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sabihin ko lang, I hope na hindi niya ginawa yun sa dulo. Kasi lahat na ayos mo na tapos sasabihin niya lang na, i-declare niya, ay, Ryan, may ganito pala kami. Kasi mabaguhin mo yun lahat eh.
Hindi ko na binago yung rest, just the cash flow management to get them back on track. Kasi talaga wala ako nung magawa. Kasi sinabi nila, biglang nagtawag ng meeting. Ryan, kasi nahihirapan na ako. Nagsabi yung isa sa couple, nahihirapan na akong ayusin. Kasi ganito yung nangyayari, ganito nangyayari. So, talagang naghanap kami ng way kung paano aayusin yun. Kung paano gagawa ng paraan na mawala yung credit card debts.
Tsaka honestly, if we're talking about adding new sources of income to correct that, to like gusto nyo debt-free journey ngayon, sobrang raming opportunities ng new normal. Kahit na it brought a lot of, diba, sa crisis and challenges. But because we're here at home, if you have internet, there's a lot of ways to earn, to increase yung income nyo. Raming opportunities ngayon. And once you maximize that, diba, increase yung magkaroon ng side hustles, magkaroon ng, parang if you have a business, diba, maganda mag-start ngayon dahil online ngayon. So, with that, part pa nun, yung mga the behavioral area naman sa spending while correcting it by budgeting or by parang creating systems na hindi mo talaga magagastos. Parang may certain lang ikaw magagastos per week or per day. Cash flow management 'yun lahat, which is pinaka essential plan 'yun when you start on your journey. Hindi lang sa debt-free journey but also in wealth building.
Right.
It's part of it.
Nako, for our viewers, reminders lang to comment down below.
Yes.
Kasi if you want that kind of topic, nako, i-interviewin natin si Louie. Ako na matagal na wala si Louie, pero ang
Oo,
dami
babawi tayo sa time ni Louie.
Bawi.
bigayin natin, madami siyang alam with that topic actually. If you want that topic, just comment down below. Kunyari si Pedro talagang wala na, ang meron lang siya internet at anong mga possibilities na meron siya. Ganon.
Yeah, and hindi ito yung mga scam na may internet ka, 100 pesos per. Hindi siya ganoon. It's really business, building it's either e-commerce or even entrepreneurship like you in by building your brands. We need to have a digital version of ourselves online because hindi na tayo nakikita-kita in a setting na physical. So, ang laki ng advantage of you maximizing na we're here in the new normal. 'Di ba, baby? May special guest.
Yes.
Yes, oo.
Ayan. Ayan. As well as reminding everyone, for those who are having their RFC plan made, yung sa inyong mga financial portfolio, reminding everyone to be honest and truthful towards your planner. Kasi, syempre, binabayaran din natin yung time. May time rin sila na kami na ginugugol towards that one. So, we treat everyone with confidentiality naman. Our licenses can be revoked kung pinakalat namin yung financial portfolio nyo.
So, parang doctor lang din yan eh. Pag binigay mo yung right na nafe-feel mo yung symptoms, mas accurate yung plan or yung ang tawag doon, reseta. Prescription, yes.
Kasi
Mas
na-diagnose
accurate
na
yung
maayos.
prescription. Mas na-diagnose ng
Correct.
maayos.
By the way, our executive group producer reminded me, meron nga pala tayong RFC public course na nakaschedule.
Oh, kailan yan?
Yeah, the first one is scheduled the first session will start on February 22. So 3 weeks long to, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So Feb 22, 24, 26, 27, and then it will fit into March 1, 3, 5, and 6, and then March 9, 10, 12, and 13. Ito ang good news. If anybody among our audience would be interested to become an RFC, if they will register and pay by Feb 5, ang good news is merong 5% discount.
Wow. Yan yung mga ginagrab.
Yes, dapat i-grab. Ito maganda tong way for insurance advisors to level up and get additional income. Kasi you can charge clients for professional fees.
Yes.
Pero of course, itutulong ka naman kasi may value-added service ka. Tapos we have another course scheduled on May 10 ang start. May 24. May 24, 26, 28, 29. May 31, and then June 2, 4, and 5, and then June 7, 9, 11.
I-flash na lang yan ni Francis, no? I-flash niya yung poster para mas maano.
Oo. So, the good news is if you pre-register on certain dates, there's a 5% discount.
Nice. Early bird rate.
Yeah, and this is also why they should follow us in Facebook and all our social media. That way they can stay up to date, right?
Yeah.
Not miss an episode. So, I think everyone has raised really good insights and points, right? So let's bring this to the last segment of the show. Let's try to understand why would anyone have debt in the first place? Let's say in the case for Mr. Pera, why? The reason why I brought this up was that one of our listeners actually just chimed in and asked, "Why do people have debts?" And I think it's a good point to raise. And again, just a gentle reminder for all of our listeners: feel free to chat us or comment below, so we will address all your questions and concerns. So anyway, back to uh, the question: why would anyone, or why do people have debt? Uh, Anyone? Any takers?
Coach Chan?
Ako, I think usually miscalculations. Although kasi ang cash flow usually ano lang naman 'yan eh, basic arithmetic eh, plus minus yung income mo tapos yung expense mo, ayun, dapat pagkasyahin mo 'yun. Gano'n lang siya. So sometimes when we begin our lives as earners na, especially fresh graduate, sometimes kapag nagkaroon lalo tayo ng credit card, 'yun na. Kasi we wanna go this, we wanna be in, lalo na sa Facebook, social media, ang dami natin nakikita, uy, si ganito, meron ganito na, I have to be updated as well, upgrade ko yung mga gamit ko, etc., etc. So in that sense, kapag nalunod tayo doon, possible na swipe lang tayo ng swipe. And with that one kasi, ang sistema kasi ng credit card, medyo mahirap makawala kapag inaano eh, parang you can pay just the minimum lang. And then, pwede ka na ulit umutang. Yung ganun. Pwede ka na ulit mag-swipe ng mag-swipe. And that one, ang dami. Pag-uusapan natin yung some episodes in the future eh, kung gaano kalaki yung kapag binabayaran lang natin yung minimum. Ayun. So, part of that is miscalculation siguro sa basic arithmetic ng cash flow at sa excitement sa life masyado. Na sana, after that excitement at nabayaran na yung utang na yun, bakat na siya and we learn discipline. Kasi etong bagay na to, it also speaks about our discipline, not just in money, but it speaks a whole lot about our lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Sa akin
Yeah.
naman, if to answer that question, mayroong mga ganun types of people talaga. Like, especially yung mga kakagraduate lang, di ba? Yung first time ka nag-earn and you're really not aware eh. So, and then eventually, magkakaroon ng awareness and then mag-add dun. Uh, Basta important yung awareness of your cash flow. Talagang track your income and expenses.
Mhm.
Sa akin, another type naman na parang why may debt yung mga tao is for business people, it's leverage talaga. Usually, if like for expansion or there's an opportunity that came na suddenly required this amount of money and ayaw mo din ma-harm yung cash flow mo.
Mm.
That maganda siya. Especially yung mga moments na talagang alam mo, this is a sure win, you just need the capital to start it. Pero again, it's always a risk. Like what if yung mga tao before the pandemic nakaka-start lang?
Oh,
Tapos brick and mortar. 'Di ba? May risk. It's again, all naman na investments nun, may risk talaga siya. But that's why parang a lot yun talaga using it as leverage because utang ako sabihin natin 500,000 kasi I know na it will make me a million. And then pay back ko yung 500K and then make na naman ako another one and gets mo parang as leverage. But also, important dyan, when you do it, then at least somehow, you don't rely on that lang. Baka meron ka, hindi lang liquidated. 'Di ba? So usually it's liquidity talaga like cash like credit card. Kaya din talaga may utang minsan kasi yan yung readily available, sobra accessible. So yeah, in terms of again, no ko na lang finalize ko with in terms of sa business, may utang talaga usually because of leverage. Usually pinapaikot lang yan eh. Pinapaikot lang yan as habang nag-start yung business. Kaya nga uh, it's part of any sa entrepreneur. Pag inisip mo din talaga, hindi basta-basta pwede mo ma-liquidate everything sa isang business eh. Maraming connections, hindi lang one source of debt yan. Pero in terms of personal finance naman, leverage din siya possible because pwedeng for education, like sa student loan nga, or like sa auto loan, sa kotse, di ba? Like, you need it para mas maging efficient for you. You get to places faster. You get to do two jobs, di ba? Sa isang araw. Tapos mabilis sa'yo. Hindi ka na stress, hindi ka na araw, hindi ka na expose sa COVID. Yung mga ganun. Again, all yon are another as a reason na for leverage, debt as leverage. So yun. Kayo, Kuya Ryan.
Expounding more on debt as leverage, yung in a lifetime, normally the biggest purchase that people would make is having your house. Diba?
Mm,
Kasi not everybody would have readily available cash to pay
that's
to
true.
buy a property. So, uh, yan, tama si Louie eh. You need to keep your liquidity as well kasi hindi naman pwedeng pagpatayo mo ng bahay, lahat ng pera mo nandun dahil may iba ka pang gastos.
Correct.
Diba?
Yeah.
At bukod doon, yan, nasabi na ni Louie, yung car. Pero isa sa mga favorite investment ng Pilipino, education ng anak.
Mm,
Di ba?
yes.
May kasabihan tayong mga Pinoy. Wala akong maiiwan kung hindi ang isang malinis na pangalan at magandang edukasyon. So, ang problema, may ibang tao nagsasabi rin, kahit na ipangutang po ang pag-aaral mo, makakapag-aral ka sa magandang paaralan. I think maraming Pilipino sineryoso yun. So even if it is beyond their means, especially sending children to good schools nowadays, like halimbawa yung mga sikat na university dito sa Manila, available rin yun sa Visayas. And hindi sila mura, even sa Visayas or sa Mindanao. They still 6-digit figure na tuition fee or school fees. So if you're earning, kumbaga, less than if you can't really afford it, so syempre, paano mo babayaran yun? Eh di mangungutang ka, di ba? So, I guess that's one of the main reasons most people uh, get into debt. Like ako, before, when my children were studying in the different, yung previous school nila, practically, bumibili ako ng brand new car every year. Yung maliit na brand new car sa mahal ng tuition. So, ang laking relief nung na-transfer namin. So, pero palang ganun university na maayos naman pala, pero hindi ganun kamahal. So, it alleviated our cash flow drastically. So, yung mga ganung bagay, kasi masyadong sineryoso ng Pinoy yung investment sa education ng anak nila. So, okay lang naman yon. Kaya lang, you have to still live within your means. So, yun pa, isa pa yun. Diba? Remember last episode, may pinag-usapan tayong formula sa para magkaroon ng surplus, di ba? Yung income minus savings equals expense. Alam niyo ba yung Tagalog nun?
Yan ang inaabangan ko eh.
Pag maikli ang kumot, matutong mamaluktot. Yun yung ibig sabihin doon. Kasi
Oh my
kung,
gosh, naalala ko nga yan pala sa class.
di ba? Ayan,
Yeah,
tinuturo lagi ni Mother Grace sa klase yan, di ba? Sa financial plan construction. Kasi, tulad ko, I'm 5'11" in height, by the way. Hindi nyo lang halata kasi medyo malapad ako. Pero imagine niyo gumamit ako ng kumot na 3 feet lang at giniginaw ako, buti na lang makapal yung baby fats ko, di ba? Siyempre, pag medyo giniginaw yung paa ko, mag-fetal position ako para makumutan yung buong katawan, di ba? Yun nga lang, ibang tanong yung lapad nung kumot. So, ibang usapan na yun. Kailangan lang magkasya yung leg. Di ba? So, ganun talaga. We have to live within your means as much as possible so that you don't get into trouble. For some people, it might be too late, di ba? But if you consult someone like Louie or like Coach John or Andre, di ba? Maybe you can do better.
Yun nga po, to add dyan, Kuya Ryan, di ba? Live within your means. With that saying, parang ang nangyayari kasi minsan ang debt, dahil available and accessible siya, it's an easy way out. Tas, di ba? Parang mabilis siya eh. Parang, okay, sige, kukunin ko siya na in the long term, pwede ka mag-suffer dahil because of recurring na interest payments and all. So, important talaga na you find, parang hindi ka lang mag-rely doon. May scholarships, di ba? Marami akong makakilala, talaga nag-scholarship po ang college nila. Ang daming opportunities. Like, eto nga, yung sinasabi nyo na 5% sa RFC course. Kailangan mo expose sarili mo sa mga ganito para magkaroon ka, dumating yung mga opportunities, makita mo sila. Parang hindi, kasi ang pinaka-advertised and andyan, ino-offer din sa mga tao is that. Parang look beyond that. Kasi ang dami opportunities naman. If you don't want to live within your means na gusto mo talaga mag-go bigger, then go bigger din dapat yung approach mo, 'di ba? Wider din. So,
Mm-mm.
yun.
Mm-mm.
Hindi nyo ba napapansin sa mga apps nyo like yung Lazada or Shopee, pag may sinearch ka, or even sa sa web browser mo lang, may sinearch ka na item, magugulat ka na lang biglang sa Shopee mo, sa Lazada app mo, biglang nagpa-pop up na palagi yung item na yun.
Recommended na.
Diba? Kasi that's how life is right now because of yung analytics, data science, di ba?
The
Kumbaga,
algorithm,
yung algorithm,
machine
binabasa,
learning din.
artificial intelligence, which brings us back to artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Pinupush na sa'yo yung produkto, lalo kung alam na heavy user ka, di ba? So, yun lang. Mahirap, pero it helps that you have someone on your side to help you implement your goals and plans and strategies so that you can be debt-free eventually. That would be my advice to Mr. Pera. If
Oo.
you really want to free up your life and be debt-free or at least have the right type of debts, di ba? Then, get a financial consultant para tama yung maging desisyon mo until matuto ka.
Yeah.
Kasi may iba pa namang gagawin yung financial consultant sa buhay mo.
Exactly. Mm-mm.
Just one correction with that, Kuya. Get a registered financial consultant.
Oh, correct!
There
Oo.
you go.
Dapat registered. Dapat masa-search mo sa website ng IARFC, yung financial consultant.
RFC. Sorry, nakamira. RFC.
Yeah. So
Ah,
I think everybody just raised really great points, very deep insights, and I do appreciate especially the discussion on education. Even getting debt for education, I think it is a worthwhile investment because it is one of the greatest equalizers for us in the modern world, right? So anyway, I think I think we've pretty much covered so much ground.
Mhm.
If we were talking to Mr. Pera right now, I'm pretty sure he would have a lot of ideas on how he would actually gain freedom, no, from debt. Which brings us to our next episode for season 2, episode 4. The next episode is titled "Ang Kalayaan ni Pedro Enrico R. Ambisyon sa Utang." Basically, payment strategies and solution for debts.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, dear listeners, please follow us on Facebook so you stay updated and you won't miss an episode. And don't forget, if you want to be greeted or you want your questions answered, comment down below or even send us a message in our social media. Uh, okay, so uh, for on behalf of our executive producer, Miss Grace De Vera Escobar, this is RFC Tuesday podcast saying it's better to be in the know than to be the last to know. Thank you and have
Thank
a good evening.
you.
good night, everyone.
Night.
See you
Bye.
next episode.
See you next episode.